SGA had 26 points. Chet Holmgren had 28 points. Jalen Brunson, he struggled shooting. He had only 2 points in the first half. He finished with 16, but Brunson did total 15 boards. Karl-Anthony Towns played very well, 17 points, 17 boards. The Knicks had 2 good looks at the end of regulation, just was not enough for the Oklahoma City Thunder win. So the Knicks overcame a 15-point third-quarter deficit to be right there at the end of it. Does that loss give you more? Why are you sitting so low? Why are you sitting like that?
I just wanted to bring the energy today. You know what I mean? This is
handle
how I
you.
play ball. I'm the smallest guy on the court. Got to stay low to the ground. Got a center of gravity.
Cannot handle you. He's literally, look
Relax, Jay, relax.
I am relaxed, Shanae. I'm just chilling.
He's chilling. Okay, does last
I
night...
can't even see it. I'm going to put my chair up.
Yeah, come on
I'm
up.
gonna put my chair up.
Does last night's loss,
come
albeit
correct.
there we go.
There you go.
Last night's loss, albeit a close one, give you less or more confidence in the Knicks that they could win it all this season?
I don't. I think the Knicks have depth. One of the things that, and you said you thought Karl-Anthony Towns had a good game last night.
I did think he had a good game.
I think from an offensive production, I think there are going to be challenges that we're going to see that are going to rear its ugly face more and more, especially if Mitchell Robinson gets in foul trouble down the stretch for this team. There are certain plays that I could point out where defensively, towards the end of a game, when Karl-Anthony Towns has to guard a side pick and roll, where I don't know what his feet are doing. I don't know what his posture's doing. And I think this is going to become a bigger and bigger story. S.A., Kendrick Perkins and I always have conversations about, do we think that Karl-Anthony Towns played better under Tibbs, more so than Mike Brown? I think their depth is better. I think they have a better shot this year because of the openness of the Eastern Conference. But I think how Karl-Anthony Towns plays defensively will ultimately determine whether this team has a legitimate shot to win it or not. And I don't know if I believe in that. I don't know if I believe in that down the stretch.
Answer the question. Did last night give you more or less confidence?
No, give me less confidence.
Give you less confidence.
I don't know if I've ever had confidence in the Knicks to win the whole thing. I don't even know why I said. We should just talk about the Knicks trying to win the Eastern Conference to start. Okay. Winning the whole thing.
All right. I was surprised by how close they kept that game last night.
Without JWill, without Hartenstein in the second half, without Alex Caruso, I mean, they weren't even fully complete.
Yeah, I mean, Caruso obviously was hurt, so was Chet late in the game. Anyways, Stephen A., more or less confidence in the Knicks last night. What do you think?
Well, first of all, good morning. Technical difficulties delayed my presence on the show this morning, so let me make sure I point that out, number one. Number two, JWill, I see you trying to grow the beard. I feel you. Way to go. And number three, I will step back and defer to the lovely Shai Ogwumike. Ladies first, and then I will chime in.
Go ahead, Chiney, girl.
Thank you so much, Stephen A. You know, I call myself Chiney, so, you know, we're like fam. Stephen A. versus Chiney. Okay,
That's right.
You know what's interesting, JWill? You mentioned that the Knicks' depth is better and they have a better shot, but you have less confidence. When you say those things, it sounds like you have more confidence in this squad. I do think that the trap in this question is winning it all. Right? But we're not going to talk about win it all. We're going to talk about what's on this, bottom line right here. More or less confident in the Knicks after last night. After the last 10 games of seeing how the Knicks have performed, I am actually more confident in them. I know it was tough. It was heartbreaking to see those 2 final attempts not go down. But I did not feel bad at the end of this game because you finally got the requisite amount of Knicks fight. And we've been seeing the trends over the last 10 games. During this span, I think leading into the game, they had the #1 defense. After this game, they have the #2 defense in the last 10 games. But most importantly, the biggest issues that you need for the Knicks are buy-in. You have a new coach. You have to buy into the system. We have been begging Karl-Anthony Towns to do more. He had 9 offensive rebounds, 17 total rebounds yesterday, 7 for 8 from the field, 17 points. He should not have fouled out. Yes, that is a growing point. That has been his knock on his game, the lack of defensive awareness that keeps him in foul trouble. But still, the heart was there. Multiple plays. We're probably going to talk about it when it comes to SGA. Jalen Brunson was out there trying to be a charge machine. As someone who played, Jay, at a high level, charges are the hardest thing to get a superstar to do. And he's out there locked in on defense, taking charge left, right, and center. So overall, I am more confident in this squad than I was maybe the first 3-4 months of the NBA season because the heart is back. Will they win a title? The Thunder, they were deficient and still got the right result. But still, this is a team that looks like they've turned a corner, whereas there were so many question marks a couple weeks ago, but now the fight is back. And that's the most important thing to New York, right, Stephen A? You want that fight. You want that grit. You want that toughness, and they brought it to the table yesterday.
Well, listen, I'm walking away feeling the same way you are, Janae, because, listen, bottom line is I'm a little bit more confident. Here's where I'm coming from with this, Jay. I'm looking at the New York Knicks last night. You lost this game despite outscoring OKC 23-14 in points off turnovers, 46-20 in the paint, 20-10 in second chance points, 14-2 on fast break points. If anything, that would be a reason for me to be despondent. How could you have all of those advantages and still lose this game? I'm telling you why. Because Jalen Brunson was held for 2 for 10 shooting by Case and Wallace. And he didn't have the greatest game. 16 points, 15 assists. 15 assists is a big deal. But we're certainly accustomed to seeing him score more than 16 points. We didn't see the level of offensive production from the Knicks collectively. We saw them shoot 29% from three-point range. And they fought, nip and tucked with the reigning defending NBA champions with Shea Butter in the lineup. So I was very, very happy about that. I was pleased to see that level of fight, just like Janae just alluded to. So I'm happy about that. And in terms of championship talk, let me be very, very clear. I've never had the Knicks winning the championship. I had them coming out of the East. That was, you crawl before you walk. Get to the damn NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. Make me a favor. Pretty please with sugar on top. That's what I'm looking for from the New York Knicks. And when I see the Detroit Pistons having their way with the Knicks the way that they did this year, it gives me cause to pause. But I've never had them winning the championship and beating the likes of an OKC as deep as OKC is with a closer, with a reigning league MVP and a reigning NBA Finals MVP in Shea Butter. I've never had that happening, Jay.
But I just felt like he was the only one on that team that felt like he was shooting well. I don't know why they didn't go to him more. Like, no one else was having a good shooting night. And so from that perspective, I was like, okay, Kat, look at you. You're shooting well. You're defending well. The fouling out was a problem. But, come on.
I'm not saying that they didn't play well last night. I'm not disagreeing with the things that Chiney is talking about or Stephen A is talking about. All I'm saying is as we get deeper into the playoffs, trust me, that's going to become a bigger thing. How he handles defense down the stretch. Can he stay out of foul trouble? He put his hand in the cookie jar multiple times last night. We're like, why are you even putting yourself in that position? So it's the lack of coherence sometimes. I wonder, can he sustain that even though he is playing better?
A lot, regardless of the results, a lot was made of the officiating last night, the calls or lack thereof. In fact, Mike Brown received his first tech as head coach of the Knicks. Here he was after the game, frustrated by how the game was officiated.
SGA he's a tough cover, and he does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anybody in the league, that he's getting hit.
Chiney, do you agree or disagree with Coach Brown on that point about SGA and the calls?
I disagree on the timing of this. I know that there was a call in the first half that sort of made him a villain and reignited those things that NBA fans love to say about SGA. I'll put some context, behind my perspective, though. I grew up watching the game in Houston, Texas, when James Harden emerged as a dominant player and MVP. And he had the same conversation surrounding his game because he was such a prolific scorer and shooter, and he manipulated the game to his benefit when it came to drawing fouls. So I've just started to notice the pattern. Years by years, MVPs will take every edge they can to be great. I think he only had 7 total free throws yesterday, and you think about the difference in the shooting percentages of the overall game dictating the outcome per se more than SGA in this specific matchup. But then again, MVPs, look at Luka Doncic, 371 right now leads the NBA. Jaylen Brown, 338, and then, of course, SGA at 321. When you're having an MVP caliber season, which he's had 3 of those straight, you take every loophole and make the most of it. I saw it with James Harden in Houston. We've seen it with multiple stars of the past, and we're now also experiencing it with the stars of the present.
Third in the NBA in fouls drawn. Do you agree with Mike Brown?
No, I think it was a bad look for Mike Brown. Just to double down on Chiney's timing situation. Number one, if you're going to focus on a charge call, specifically lay out that charge call, that should have been a charge. It was blatant. It was on the weak side of the floor. They cleared out one side of the floor. Jalen Brunson was obviously there 2 to 3 seconds before SGA even got there. That was a missed call. But to utilize this moment at the podium, I don't want to hear Mike Brown talk about excuses or SGA's free throw attempts. Obviously, there are certain plays that when you watch SGA, especially one foul in particular, I think with like 7 minutes in the third quarter, where Karl-Anthony Towns puts his hand in the pocket and he is shooting for him. He goes up and it's fine. And all of a sudden at the end, he just kind of flaunts himself. I get it. That happens, right, throughout the course of the game. But I don't want to hear that from Mike Brown at that particular situation. Like, he only had 6 free throw attempts. The 7th came off a technical foul from you. So at the end of the day, the best, like Janaea said, the best players, AI used to go to the free throw line 10 to 15 times a game. Couldn't touch that dude. Trust me, I played against him. Was one of the best at doing it. Maybe not as flamboyant at times as SGA has been, but always found a way to get themselves to the line. So I just thought the demeanor that you want from Mike Brown after that is not to complain, but to say, okay, we got it. And I don't think that sets any kind of tone. The league knows how everybody feels about SGA. So I don't know what that does for Mike Brown and the Knicks. I don't.
You know, I love the way Janae and Jay Williams put it, because it's not about the complaint, it's about the timing. You just lost at Madison Square Garden to the reigning NBA champion, the reigning league MVP, the reigning NBA Finals MVP, and who's averaging 9.2 free throws per game. Now, 3 years ago, he averaged nearly 11 a game. It's actually down. Last couple of years, it was near 9. This year's at 9.2, second most free throw attempts per game in his career. But this is Shea Butter that we're talking about here. A guy that for the last 3 years, and this year counted meaning 4th, has been a top 5. He was a top 5 MVP candidate 3 years ago. He was top 2 2 years ago. He won the MVP last year. And he might win it again this year, considering the fact that he's the second leading scorer in the NBA, shooting 55% from the field, by the way, and would become the first dude in history as a pure point guard to pull that feat, 55% shooting from the field. Another thing to point out, guys, 60 straight road games, this dude has dropped 20 or more. Longest such streak in NBA history, 60 straight road games. And overall, the streak is at 124 consecutive 20-point games overall, which is 2 shy of Wilt Chamberlain's all-time record of 126. You do not face somebody like that, lose the game, and then just flippantly say, you know, he's really adroit. He's really gifted at convincing the referees. Really? Shea Butter will bust your ass in a myriad of ways. Free throws, J's, drives to the lane, finishing at the basket, three-point shooting, mid-range game. What doesn't the brother have when you're facing somebody? And Mike Brown knows this, so we're not condemning Mike Brown. We know he's a good coach and we know he's a good person. But the point is that you don't pick last night to make that kind of point and not extensively elaborate. And it could, by the way, it could be our fault because we're just going by the footage. He could have said more and we missed it, so we have to leave the door open to that possibility. But if that is all that Mike Brown said, then he did a disservice to the greatness of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the brother special. He just is. And that's why, he can sit up there and get to the free throw line and draw fouls and, do an acting job. James Harden used to do that, all that other stuff. We don't sit there and talk about James Harden like that. You know why? Because James Harden has proven he's one of the most prolific scorers we've ever seen in NBA history. And so is Shea Butter. Respect that man. Respect that man.
Go ahead, Chiney.
I was just waiting. I was just waiting for you to say Shea Butter. Shea Butter. That was it. That was the icing on the cake right there. You know what's tough about comments like this? Because the timing wasn't great, but it also steals the headline. Because there was a moment, actually a performance in this game that everyone around the association's like, damn. Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren. The way he started the game, you're down an all-star. And Chet Holmgren goes out there and hits 6 threes. I think it was 6 for 11 from 3. And you're thinking about a squad who just gets SGA back, who is the favorite for MVP. and you're like, okay, we play a great performance, but this guy who's 7 feet tall can go out there and stretch the floor for you like this and make it look so easy. To me, that is the biggest shot. If you're watching the game, you're an NBA player, you're an NBA coach, you're like, they got that in their bag when they're down as well?
Janae, I have a retort to that. There's a flip side to that. As Robert De Niro said in Heat, which I just finished watching again for the 19th time this weekend. Let me say this to you. I really, really would like to see that Chet Holmgren show up against Victor Wembanyama. That's what I'd like to see. I'm sorry, I mean, because it's supposed, Janae, it's supposed to be some kind of heated rivalry. It's supposed to be they don't like one another. It's supposed to be, you know what, when we talk about the future, when Wembanyama, yeah, you ain't 7'5", but you are 7'1". Yo, where's that when Wembanyama's in the house? That's what I want to see Chet Holmgren. That's when I want to see Chet Holmgren doing that.
But that's why it's going to be popcorn season in the Western Conference, because that rivalry between Chet and Victor Wembanyama predates the NBA, predates, all of this situation. Like, they go way back, national teams. Exactly. So, yeah, this is all going to be good, but to see Chet do that, you're going to want to use that as a rubric and say, you're capable of doing that against the Knicks. Can you do that when it matters most in the biggest games? But you also distracted me, Stephen A., by saying heated rivalry. Shae gets it.
Shanae, real quick, though, who was guarding Chet?
Cat, for the most part.
Okay.
That was it.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it there.
You're picking on him.
I'm not.
Look, you are.
I'm not picking on anybody. I'm talking ball.
But you know what he did?
Last night.
But also, when we're talking ball, we're going to talk about those 9 offensive rebounds that he had.
I agree with you on
because
that
maybe
too.
he's not the best defender out there, but he went out there and did something we were not accustomed to see him do.
Jay,
Both can be true at the same time.
I'm not looking for Karl-Anthony Towns with those big ass feet. And that suspect need to be going out on the perimeter, guarding perimeter players. I mean, he's guarding.
Come on, man.
Cat, no, I love him. I love him to death. Listen,
We all know our strengths.
Insulting him. I'm just saying, that's not his gift, guarding on the perimeter.